Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we started with the, let's see, where did we start? I think we started with the Nexus of Abandoned Places and stopped at Pope Soap. Or, no, we started at Satellite and stopped at Pope Soap. This episode, we're going to start with the Map to Nowhere, and we're going to stop at the Recurring Nightmare Field, which sounds terrifying, but we'll see. The Map to Nowhere is safe. SCP-476 is to be kept in a standard precious item locker. During experiments, a level 2 clearance personnel must be present at all time, to avoid the item being used to escape. A list of locations that are to be monitored on a regular basis is found in document 476 blank. Description: SCP-476 is a 60-page Rand McNally Canada Road Atlas published in 2006, ISBN 0886440 blank 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 by the Canadian Cartographics Corporation. Upon closer examination, it is revealed to contain a large number of anomalies such as locations that do not exist, missing locations, and misplaced or misnamed ones. Indices and distant chart are consistent with the anomalous maps. A tentative list of anomalies can be found in documents 476A. Is that here? It doesn't look like that's here. Using the map, it is possible to reach every single one of the locations. If an attempt is made to continue towards a location without regularly consulting the map, the user will miss the non-existent location and be returned to normal geography. People inhabiting the locations, if any, appear totally oblivious to the absence of them on normal maps, including those on sale in the locations themselves, dismissing them as not up to date. They always seem eager to convince newcomers to settle there. Tracking and GPS devices systematically fail during use of 476, as do most communication methods other than landlines and regular mail. Landlines are, however, untraceable, and although mail sent from non-existent locations has been known to reach its intended destination, marks on items clearly usually show that they never go through Canada post systems at any time. People actively following a 476 user will be affected normally, but other third parties will simply report having lost sight of the user at some point, which will systematically happen should direct eye contact to the users be lost. The SCP's anomalous effects appear specially connected to the physical representation that the Atlas constitutes. Copies and electronic duplication of the data fail to display any unusual properties. It is possible to use 476 with any means of transportation, and aerial pictures of anomalous locations have been produced. Incident Report 476-8D. On blank blank 19-something during a flyover of the non-existent Gander Glenwood International Airport, YGG CYGG 476 does not display Gander International Airport. A plane on the runway was noticed. Examination of the plane's serial numbers revealed it to be an Air Malta plane, tail number OB1 something, that disappeared en route over the Atlantic Ocean on blankety blank 1990. None of the passengers or their personal items could be located, and the airport was, as every time it had been explored beforehand, apparently abandoned. Addendum 3. Dr. Blank has discovered SCP-354 marked on the Atlas in small red text. The label is made of Cyrillic characters and translates into gibberish. Several rules converge with the location of 354, all of which are non-existent in normal geography. Addendum 4. Request to use 476 to establish additional secret facilities has been denied. Too risky that locations might become unreachable, plus it is not possible to communicate with such facilities. 5. What was 354 again? Oh, the pond. Okay, so the map shows how to get to the blood pond. Ugh. Okay, next up is the Fossil Sea, which is Euclid, and animate fossils foraging in 477. Okie dokie. SCP-477 is enclosed in a climate-controlled structure designated Site-44. The building is constructed exclusively of metal and wood, with no stone or concrete materials. Outwardly, it appears to be the machinery storage warehouse for a defunct quarry, but it contains numerous labs dedicated to the study and containment of 477. Notice that no sedimentary stone or concrete items may be removed from the containment complex unless they are crushed and mixed into an acidic slurry to dissolve all remaining fossil material. That sounds painful, seeing as they seem to be alive, so to speak. Incidences of 477 appearing outside of Site-44 must be appropriated immediately and returned to the complex or disposed of by complete pulverization and acidic treatment of their host substrate. Let me just check this real quick. The occurrence, rate, or frequency of a disease, crime, or something else undesirable. An increased incidence of cancer. The intersection of a line or something moving in a straight line. Incidences versus incidents. Those who say incidences usually mean incidents. An incidence is a single event or episode. An incident of food poisoning was confirmed and investigated. An incidence is the rate at which something happens, usually something bad. The incidence of diseases transmitted by food has increased. Sometimes the words can overlap. When incidents of crime are occurring with some regularity, there is an incidence of crime in the vicinity. Why even do that? Why make separate words for if it's a thing or if it's a bad thing? Okay, whatever. Thanks, English. Description. A thin layer of Cambrian shale extends appropriately 2 square kilometers across the surface of a mesa in blank Mongolia. Within the stone is a wealth of pristinely preserved aquatic fossils, collectively known as SCP-477. These fossils are exceptional both in their diversity and in the fact that they are capable of motion and a facsimile of life, swimming through rock as though it were the ocean they thrived in 520 million years ago. Members of 477 are able to move through all tested types of sedimentary stone without apparent resistance. This constitutes the main danger to successful containment, as an animate fossil which escaped into another geological formation would be extremely difficult to recover and might engage in runaway reproduction, see Incident 477-1. They're incapable of leaving their stone habitat to move through liquid or gaseous environments, nor can they pass through soil, sand, clay, or other porous substrates. They also seem incapable of passing through minerals that have been generated by processes other than sedimentation, including igneous and metamorphic rock. The geological layer directly beneath the inhabited shale consists of granite and quartzite, which forms a natural barrier to their spread. During the construction of Site-44, the fossils were discovered to be capable of moving through and inhabiting hardened concrete. Construction and containment procedures have been modified accordingly, and all infested concrete samples destroyed. Almost 900 species of fossil have been cataloged in 477 so far, many unknown to mainstream science. Predators, prey organisms, and vegetation are all represented and interact with each other in a manner consistent with a functioning ecosystem. Despite their lack of soft body parts or any biochemistry that could conceivably support life, the fossils move, eat, and reproduce as though they were alive. As the fossil bed was isolated underground for millions of years, photosynthesis does not seem to be important to the ecology of 477. The process from which the organisms derive energy is unknown. Foundation researchers have carefully exposed the entire 9 cm thick shale layer to facilitate observation and research of 477. Incident 1. A large fragment of rock containing several instances of 477 was somehow obtained by the Blank Museum of Natural History and put on display. It was placed in contact with the museum's sandstone's western wall, and one or more organisms escaped and multiplied. By the time Foundation personnel arrived, thousands of the creatures had infested the building, weakening structural integrity and collapsing an inner wall. The old wing of the museum was dismantled and ground into powder as part of a renovation project announced by the museum's board of directors. Huh. So they mess with the integrity of the walls. Tooth fairies! Are they Keter? Okay, they're not. Instances of 478 are to be surgically recovered whole from victims before death. We're off to a fantastic start. After recovery, they are to be kept in specialized vacuum-sealed lockers within Biosite 66. Instances of 478 do not seem to be able to pass through solid matter, and thus may be held indefinitely unless damaged. Mildly affected victims may be treated in a normal civilian medical establishment by Foundation surgeons under the guise of orthodontic surgery. General sedation is to be administered as per normal surgery. Severely affected victims of 478 are to be recovered by the nearest Foundation establishment and subsequently moved to Biosite 16 for study. Because of 478's unique structure, infected individuals are not to be terminated prematurely. Victims deemed capable of full recovery may be treated for infection and released as above. Survivors are to be administered Class B amnestic, and false memories are to be planted. Victims deemed unsalvageable may be terminated. Description: SCP-478 are small entities of inconsistent size and shape that resemble a darkly colored butterfly or moth in flight. Wild instances have been encountered a number of times, but their elusive nature makes capture difficult. Extracted instances of 478 do not seem to need to eat, sleep, breathe, or breed. After some testing with captured instances, it is understood that 478 are somewhat predatory and normally prey exclusively on humans under the age of 25. Furthermore, 478 most often seeks out individuals who have not yet shed all of their deciduous teeth. 478 will enter a victim's mouth while they sleep and attach onto the soft palate and the upper nasal cavity, usually blocking one nostril. The body's mucus production will increase, leaving the victim upon waking to believe they have developed a minor cold. From there, the victim's palate will begin to generate teeth in addition to the gingivas, gums, normal placement of teeth. This growth process will begin at a rate several times faster than normal tooth growth and quickly increases in speed and severity. The palate's generation of new teeth will continue until the entire palate has been covered, proceeding down the victim's throat and esophagus. Over the course of 2 to 4 days, these teeth will completely saturate the stomach lining, then begin growing within the lungs and the subcutaneous layer of skin. Skeletal calcium will be leached away to provide material for the new teeth in an increasingly painful process. This growth will continue until the entire digestive tract has been saturated by dental tissue, after which 478 will exit the victim's mouth and flee. Teeth within the stomach are exposed to the body's normal acid production, while teeth within the skin will group closely together, forming rigid masses of dental material underneath the surface. All teeth are normal beyond placement, containing a root, nerve, and enamel. It is unknown exactly how or why 478 caused this explosive new growth of dental tissue. Addendum historical note: documentation recovered from Foundation raids on the dental laboratory of Dr. Razman Yelkov implicate 478 as a primary source of the phenomena observed in SCP-1994. Investigation into Dr. Yelkov's ability to communicate and capture instances of 478 is ongoing. The reason I scrolled up earlier is because that was a very disturbing picture that I didn't want to have to look at longer than I needed to. Now it's time for Hallway 4, D-Class Dorm Site 14. Interesting. Well, it certainly looks unnerving. 479 connects the D-Class laundry and steam plant room. Is that a ladder on the ceiling? That looks like it's a ladder on the ceiling. A Site 14 standard 2mm CR4 double skin steel plate security door, Uni 9569, Class 3, with full gasket seal is installed on either end of Hallway 4. Both doors are to be kept locked and keys retained by the ETHB on duty. Disposable dues authorized to enter for the purpose of surveying and research. Hallway 4 is no longer authorized as a thoroughfare between D-Class laundry and plant room. Sweeps of Site 14 looking for similar phenomena will continue to supplement regular security sweeps until further notice. Description: Hallway 4 is a 25-meter long hallway connecting the plant room and the Site 14 D-Class dormitories to the laundry room. As a blank 2000-something, persons entering Hallway 4 have mentioned powerful visual, auditory, and olfactory hallucinations of blood, ranging from isolated blood spots on the floor to blood raining upwards, hitting the floor from the other side like it's the pane of a window. These visions of blood have proven to be hallucinations. The floor at the time of the first report was plain bare concrete with no evidence of blood, and no evidence of blood can be found by chemical or photographic means. Some ordinary rust was found, but not in the quantities or locations reported in the hallucinations. The ground under Hallway 4 is the same volcanic bedrock that the rest of Site 14 rests on, proven so after a disposable team excavated it with hand tools and a new reinforced concrete floor was poured. A thorough investigation of the walls and ceilings also turned up negative results. No abnormal chemicals are present. Neurological analysis of disposable dues with no prior history is pending, but so far looks inconclusive. Antipsychotic medication is ineffective. The existence of this phenomenon in a secure facility may constitute a security breach, and a report to an O5 level is in preparation. A request is pending to authorize the funding to declare a Hallway 4 a containment site, although at present there is no plan in place to deal with the effects should it spread. And this was last done on July 24th, 2017. It seems like a lot of these were edited that day. And that brings us to the recurring nightmare field, which is Euclid, and not Keter, but also very, very unpleasant to look at. Those could be foam, but they're probably not. So, Site 415, located 142 kilometers south-southwest of Blank, Wyoming, United States, has been constructed at the location of 480's recovery, and is to be used exclusively for its containment. SCP-480 is to be monitored constantly for indicator signs of an impending fluctuation event. 480 is contained in a Type 3 standard observation chamber retrofitted with an early warning system consisting of a spectrum of electromagnetic radiation sensors. Workstations and research staff are to be situated a minimum distance of 25 meters from the observed center of 480. In the event of a likely significant expansion of the area of 480, a disposable dude is to be immediately prepared and secured in the observation antechamber located next to the primary containment unit. Addendum 28 Mike. To address concerns raised by research staff, a mimetic passphrase system has been instituted to confirm that personnel are not currently under the effects of 480. All personnel completing a shift at Site-415 must undergo mimetic reality confirmation protocols prior to being signed out. Description: SCP-480 is a localized electromagnetic field generated by an unseen and as yet unknown source capable of inducing substantial changes to human consciousness and physiology. While size and strength of the electromagnetic field fluctuate constantly, 480 typically occupies a space of approximately 450 meters cubed and is usually observed to be between 2.4 T and 4.6 T. I don't know what that means. SCP-480 is capable, however, of contracting and expanding substantially. It has been documented at minimums of, I don't know what that means, and 18 meters cubed, and maximum values of 14.9 T and 792 meters cubed. Although 480 is 62% more likely to experience a major fluctuation event if no sapient organism is present within its area of effect, these events can occur at any time regardless of persons or materials present within 480. When a sapient organism is introduced into the area of 480, it will undergo radical changes in sensory perception and mental function. Subjects placed in 480 experience a mental state similar to dreaming during REM sleep and become mostly unresponsive to outside stimuli. In this state, subjects experience the perception of a recurring period of time, either a recent event or a time perceived to be in the near future. Each recurrence begins in the same manner. For instance, if a subject finds themselves driving a car upon a particular section of highway at the beginning of a recurrence, they will always find themselves engaging in the same activity in each successive iteration thereof. However, subsequent events will differ in each successive scenario experienced by the subject. Each recurrence experienced by those within SCP-480 consists of an event or series of events that will cause heightened sensations of existential dread and or terror in the subject. Some recurrences end with the subject's perceived death, while others conclude with the subject simply losing consciousness due to the unknown means. Regardless of the means by which recurrences end, the scenario experienced by the subject restarts in the exact same manner. Subjects apparently do not retain any memory of previous recurrence iterations. For a partial list of known recurrences, see Addendum 3, or recurrent scenarios. Subjects will continue to experience the effects of 480 as long as they remain within its area. Because of the nature of 480's influence, subjects exhibit acute, unremitting signs of increased stress levels while remaining within the electromagnetic field, invariably leading to deleterious physiological effects. Removal of affected individuals from 480 has invariably resulted in spontaneous cerebral hemorrhaging in subjects, usually occurring in the brainstem, causing brain death within minutes. So, what's Addendum 1? Research Protocol Update 480T.78. Modality of Test Subject Preparation. In consultation with the Behavioral Psychology Office and Directorate of Neurology, the following protocols are to be observed for the preparation of 480 potential test subjects. Note that a minimum of 5 fully prepared potential test subjects are to be maintained at Site-415. In addition to the standard disposable incoming psychological profile, for test subjects routed to 415, a supplemental form, 480T8, is to be filled out by the sector supervised psychiatrist detailing modified Lagrange unconscious cognition scores, linguistic aptitude, and the results of a full phobia spectrum analysis. Upon arrival, all disposable dudes serving as potential test subjects must have vocal folds surgically disabled. Potential test subjects are to be enrolled in an intensive Morse code training course. All requests made by potential test subjects, food, water, or any other necessities, will only be fulfilled after a correct request given in Morse code by tapping an index finger against any of the multiple purpose-built sensors throughout the holding facility. Test subjects will be required to maintain a record of their dreams, recorded in Morse code signals. A regimen of steadily increasing doses of psychotropic drugs is to be prescribed in order to facilitate a more varied and stimulating dream state as supervised by the Site-415 physician. Concurrent to language and dream transcription regimens, potential subjects are additionally required to undergo mental conditioning designed to maintain self-awareness and conscious thought throughout the sleep cycle, especially during REM sleep. A test subject is deemed fully prepared when able to demonstrate the ability to communicate the events of the dream state they are experiencing through established Morse code finger tap modality and 90% of attempted observations. Testing has determined that potential test subjects demonstrating this proficiency will have an approximate 75% success rate in communicating to researchers during a 480 event. Senior researcher E. Moore. E. Moore sounds like a terrible person. Addendum 2. To all Site-415 staff. In regard to the procedural inquiry after Incident 48014 and the loss of Dr. Herrera, the Site-415 Ethics Committee has, by a vote of 4-3, adopted the staff recommendation that Foundation personnel affected by 480 be maintained as test subjects for the duration of continued life function. While the effects of 480 are undeniably distressing for those observing former co-workers, the correlation between presence of test subjects and reduced instances of containment breaches requires that personnel who will be lost to the Foundation in any subsequent scenario be employed to reduce risk to unaffected staff. For record-keeping purposes, personnel who are affected by 480 are to be immediately considered deceased. Dang. Okay, which incident did that? Incident 14. So rather than just to read all of, maybe I should read some of these. Okay, never mind, Incident 14 is not even in here. It just skips straight to Incident 15. Oh, but Researcher Moore was one of them. What happened to him? Incident 19, Researcher Moore unknown, 31 weeks, 6 days, 17 hours. Okay, cool. Now that I know that Researcher Moore got caught in a loop for 31 weeks, 6 days, and 17 hours, I am completely okay with that. Probably shouldn't be completely okay with that, but considering that all this nonsense right here was Researcher Moore's idea, and then it got him for 31 weeks, he deserved it. That's all I gotta say about that. He deserved it. And that about does it for this episode. So, this has been Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki, episode 106, and also Anashi Sasuke. I should have said that in the reverse order. In any case, in the next one, we're going to start with Scar Tissue, and we're going to go up through Death Pen, which sounds cool. There might be a Keter in there somewhere. But, that being said, if you liked it, a like and a subscribe would be groovy. If you didn't, you'll need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.